Okay, typhoons, earthquakes, volcanoes, landslides, mudslides, brownouts, blackouts. What's the real reason I left the Philippines and moved to Thailand? I'm going to tell you now. You ready? Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, what's up? It's JJ, the Lonely Bull in Asia, here in Bangkok, Thailand, at one of my favorite places to come to. It's O'Shea's Irish Pub, right here on Sukhumvit 33-1. I'm going to meet a friend here in just a little bit. We're going to have breakfast. So it's an early Wednesday morning. It's going to be another hot day today, but the breakfasts are great here. You get a Western breakfast. You get choices of whatever you want, but you get 7 choices plus free coffee or drink for 199 baht. So what a deal. So that's later on indoors. But I wanted to talk to you about why I left the Philippines for Bangkok. Now, I want to read some statistics to you about the Philippines, and this may or may not shock you. Okay, so you may have heard the news recently of the volcanic activity going on in southern Luzon in the Philippines. Big volcano erupted, and it's still going off. It's still very active. All right, let me read some statistics for you about the Ring of Fire in the Philippines. There are between 300 and 400 total volcanoes in the Philippines alone. 24 of those are active volcanoes, meaning they either are erupting or could erupt at any time. Let's talk about earthquakes. They just had a 6.1 earthquake just recently in the Philippines. 100 to 150 earthquakes happen annually in the Philippines. Between 20 and 30 small earthquakes happen per day, meaning that they're usually under 5 on the scale. Let's talk about typhoons and monsoons. Typically, there are 20 tropical cyclones that happen in the Philippines each year. About 10 of those reach typhoon intensity. How about brownouts and blackouts? So we've all heard about brownouts and blackouts. They happen a lot. Not necessarily in Metro Manila, where I lived, in BGC, never happened because all the power grid is underground. But in other areas of Metro Manila and all over in the provinces in the Philippines, it can happen, often weekly, sometimes daily. How about flash flooding? There were 53 flash flooding incidents in 2024 in the Philippines alone. What happens with flash floods and monsoons? You get mudslides and landslides. The Philippines is one of the most prone countries for landslides in the world. What happens with landslides? Well, it knocks out sometimes the only highway that leads in and out of a province or a city. So that's real problematic. How about internet? Slower speeds, higher costs. All right, so let's just, I threw that internet in there, but that's not natural disaster, obviously. But I wanted to talk to you about those natural disasters. But that's not the real reason I left the Philippines. Obviously, those are an issue. I just don't like the fact that you're putting yourself in harm's way on a regular basis by living in the Philippines. Now, granted, I was in BGC, and that was kind of a protected area because even when typhoons came through, it didn't affect that area that much, although you got a lot of rain, but it never floods in BGC because they have a great drainage system. I've talked about that before. You don't have brownouts. I talked about that. But right outside the bubble of BGC, you've got all those issues. So if you're in a situation where you've got a typhoon or power outages, you're kind of stuck in BGC. It's hard to get out of there with all that stuff going on around you. So that always weighed on my mind. Now, granted, a year ago, last March of 2025, there was an earthquake in Myanmar which affected Thailand and Bangkok, and it scared a lot of people. But that's a 1 in 100 year event. So I don't think I'm going to be alive in another 100 years. So earthquakes really don't affect Bangkok that much, and I'm not worried about that. In fact, I live in a high-rise condo. Granted, it's only the 16th floor that I'm on, but still, it's still a high rise, and I know a lot of people got scared when that earthquake happened a year and a half ago, and they wanted to get ground floor or low floor condos. So the price of the high rises went down a little bit for a while. But I think once you realize that that's an incident that doesn't happen very much, you're going to feel a lot safer in Bangkok. Let's talk about crime. Even though BGC is relatively safe, lately it has gotten a little out of hand with a lot of the bad elements from around BGC coming into BGC. There's less security than there was when I lived there. There's more beggars, more thieves. It's happening a lot, more and more often. So I see that. I hear it from my friends. I see that when I go visit again. That's something that I take seriously, because here in Bangkok, I've left my recording gear 3 times, one time overnight, and I've gone back every time and it's been there untouched. So I never worry about it. If I'm at a street market and getting some food and it's busy and I find a seat available, I'll put my gear on right there on the table by the seat, so I save that. I'll go get my food. It might take me 10 minutes, get back, and my stuff's still there. So I never worry about safety in Bangkok or in Thailand. Now, to be honest, every city, every country has bad elements, and you got to watch out for that. You just have to understand where you're at and just keep your wits about you. Now, I wouldn't feel as safe maybe in Pattaya, certain areas of Pattaya. I wouldn't feel safe being around a lot of foreigners, because they're the ones that generally cause all the trouble. It's not the locals. Healthcare, although in BGC you've got St. Luke's, which is generally considered the best healthcare facility in the entire country of the Philippines. But here in Bangkok, you've got St. Luke type places everywhere, even better. And it's cheaper too. The healthcare is relatively cheap here compared to the West, obviously. The healthcare is good. The problem with the Philippines is, they train, they do a good job training medical staff, nurses and doctors, but the good ones leave and go to other countries to work because obviously they get paid better. So you don't have the top graduates or the top-notch health care staff in the Philippines working in the Philippines. They go to other countries. Here in Bangkok, they pay well, you get good care. Even public hospitals are just as good as private hospitals, and you get just as good care. We can talk about dating. Dating was really easy when I lived in the Philippines. I won't lie to you guys. It was super easy. And when I was working, making US dollars, I was making really good money in the Philippines, and I was basically that 2%er. And living in BGC, which is a high-end Western community, I was doing pretty good, guys. I won't lie to you. Thailand's a little bit of a challenge. If you guys want to come to Thailand to date, it's not as easy as the Philippines. Probably easier than it is in Vietnam or Japan. Maybe not as easy as it is in Cambodia or Laos. I've never been to those countries. I've never tried dating there, but I've heard from other vloggers or other people that have been there, they say it's pretty easy to date there. But overall, it's pretty easy. I didn't come here thinking, I'll get along really well with the locals because everybody speaks English. I knew that wasn't the case. I knew that the Philippines was a better situation if you wanted to speak English. With that in mind, I decided I was going to start taking Thai lessons, so I've been doing that, and that's helped a little bit. Most of the time living in this area, I'm in Phrom Phong, which is one of the touristy areas along Sukhumvit. Most everybody speaks English well enough to get along. In fact, most of the waitresses that work at the restaurants and bars, I would say at least half of them are from Myanmar, and their English is pretty good. So you don't have an issue. Now, if you get away from the tourist areas, you will have that issue with the English language. So you just kind of have to understand that you might have some difficulty conveying what you want to convey in a conversation. If you're at a restaurant, they usually have post pictures. A lot of times it'll be in Thai and English, so you kind of know what you're buying as far as restaurants are concerned. The farther out in Metro Bangkok you get, the less English is spoken, the less English is printed, so you may have that problem. But it's always nice to have a Google Translator or some sort of app where you can translate the written text or translate the words. That's always helpful. Now in dating, is that going to be a no-go for you guys? It's going to be like maybe a novel thing at first to talk to a girl by using a translator, but will that get old after a while? That's what you got to ask yourself. Cost of living, it's about the same here in Bangkok as it was in the Philippines where I was living. Now you get out in the provinces here in Thailand and in the Philippines, it's probably similar. I will say the infrastructure is better. Highways are better condition. Roadways are better. The buildings are in better condition. They're built better. Their furnishings are better. The cost is probably comparable to the Philippines, but you get more bang for your buck if you're renting an apartment or a condo here in Thailand, especially in Bangkok, which is what I'm familiar with. The food is better here by far. And I'm not just talking about Thai food. Obviously, Thai food is amazing. It's like close to the top of my list for the best food in the world. But you get other Asian food here that's better and basically about the same price as you would pay in the Philippines, but it just tastes better. Western food tastes better here. They don't have the franchises that you can get in Metro Manila. So if you want to go to a Texas Roadhouse or a Denny's or a, wherever, Olive Garden, whatever, you're not going to find those here in Bangkok. What you will find, though, is locally owned Western restaurants that make better food than the franchisees do. So if you like Italian food, there's a place right down by Terminal 21 called Pala. It's a little pricey, but you get great pizza, great pasta, great Italian food. There's another couple of Italian restaurants around that you can get really good Italian food. Like I said here, I can get a Western breakfast for 199 baht. That's amazing. That's $6. And you get 7 items. 2 eggs counts as 1 item. So really 8 plus coffee or juice. But you can find deals everywhere here. So I would say the cost as far as food in Bangkok, you can get by cheaper here in Bangkok than you can in the Philippines because they have great street food here where you can eat locally, whereas in the Philippines, I would not advise eating street food there. So those are just some of the things that make it a better choice to come here than to be in the Philippines. What else? The people are friendly. Obviously, the people in the Philippines are friendly too, but it's just a different vibe here in the Bangkok, especially when you're out and about. It's a huge city, but I can travel all over, and it's really convenient because of the transportation. So you got the train systems, you got the BTS, which is the Sky Rail, you got the MRT, which is the subways. That can get you almost anywhere or pretty close to anywhere in the entire city. If you want to compare that to traveling around Manila, it's no comparison. It's hard to travel around Manila because you've got a train option, you got an MRT, which is their Sky Rail basically, but it's not very convenient. It doesn't get you close to where you need to go. They've got an MRT and an LRT, and that's about it. And like I said, it doesn't really get you, it's not convenient. It doesn't get you like where you need to be. You still have to get on in a jeepney or a bike or get a Grab or something to get to where you want to be. That's the main things, guys. That's the reasons why I moved here. I didn't move here with the intent of dating. I moved here with the intent of enjoying my life. One, not having to worry about natural disasters, because really typhoons, they come from the east and they head west in the Pacific. They hit the Philippines first. So the strongest intensity of a typhoon hits the Philippines. Then it hits land, and then it weakens in strength until it gets past the Philippines. Then it builds up strength again, and then it either heads to Vietnam, the shores of Vietnam, or it goes north up to Taiwan. So even though Vietnam's a beautiful area, you can still have some issues with typhoons and monsoons. Here in Bangkok especially, you're kind of surrounded by land almost. You've got the bay area, but really there's no typhoons that I'm aware of that really get to that point. Usually they hit land in Vietnam and then they weaken, and it's basically just heavy rains by the time it gets to Bangkok. Now Thailand does have flooding. Bangkok does have localized flooding, so you have to be aware of that. I'm lucky enough to live in an area in Phrom Phong where when it rains, the streets don't flood. There are areas in Bangkok that if it rains, you're kind of stuck in your apartment, or you're waiting in knee-high water for the rest of the evening or the rest of the day because of the rains. So if you're planning on moving here or staying here an extended period of time, try to find out those areas and avoid those areas if you can, because we're just about getting into the rainy season, guys. The end of May, the rainy season will hit and the heat will disappear. Just wanted to give you a kind of an update and a heads up if you're thinking about moving here to Thailand from maybe the Philippines. Those are the reasons why I did that. And the natural disasters, that's one thing, but there's a plethora of things that made me decide to move here. So hope this is helpful for you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell too. And as always, live life, my friend. Sabay sabay. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.